Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Hopecast with your host, Richard and Steve. And today we're with special guest, Coach Manny. How's it going, fellas?
It's good. How you doing, Coach?
Going well, man. Appreciate you guys having me today. So I'm excited to get this started.
There you go. So how about a little background on you? Because I know you're big into men's health.
I am. A lot of background about me, right? I'll make it quick though, cause I got a long story to tell, but I'll make it short for you guys. I'm Emmanuel, Coach Manny. I'm originally from Mississippi, Jackson. Always grew up around, kind of my brother got me into health and fitness when I was 15 and working out and stuff. But the food portion was always hard for me. So the older I got, the more I worked out. But of course, I never got the food portion right. So I've been always a big guy, always been athletic, always been to sports and just, working out. But when I got around 30 years old, I kind of pivoted and started learning about nutrition and such. So I started bodybuilding. At 32, I started bodybuilding. And then when I really got into the, what's good for you, what's bad for you, how you work out, how do you maximize your food with your lifting regimen, and how you get your cardiovascular up. So I did all that. I won Mr. Tennessee twice in 8 years in bodybuilding. It was fun. It was a good hobby, but I got kind of tired of it. And I also, a little bit pivot here, at 40, I had heart surgery, right? I kind of had atrial flutter. So kind of went into that a flutter standpoint. So I had to pivot a lot more with my food and nutrition and really working out, right? I had to cut back on that a little bit because your heart start hurting, that can lead to other things, right?
Oh, yeah.
During COVID, I started my nutrition company, right? Superpower Nutrition. There you go, right there. I started a company because once again during COVID, we had a lot of time on our hands, and really, it gave me the ability to really dig into the to disease and in America particularly how food affects us, how it makes us feel bad, makes us feel good, and endorphins to give out. And basically for men, the test levels. Anybody know about test levels? That's a big one with food for men. So my program I created it was really for men, but of course, men are we some hard headed creatures, right? Kind of hard headed.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think active guys get us on track. For me, I really wanted to dig into that, but I opened up to everybody. Started 2021, and I started doing my nutrition plan, like nutrition company. I'm actually certified in disease. I'm certified in nutrition. I'm certified to help people. I really want to help people to get healthier, right? Live a healthy lifestyle and pass it along to their kids. Think about it for a minute. Everybody talk about money, money, money. Generational wealth. Wealth, wealth, wealth. What's good at that if you don't got generational health, right? So my deal is really to help people get generational health, right? That's my goal.
All right. That's simple. How do you get people to do it is the hard part, right?
Oh man, so yeah, you really gotta know your audience, right? And you gotta know that everybody not for you the client. At the end of the day, everybody is not gonna be your audience, your clientele. You gotta be very selective because some people need specialized nutrition, the dietitians and nutritionists on another standpoint. One thing I take very seriously the passion behind it, right? I do this, I'm an engineer by day. Right. The money is not important to me, but I do have to make a living off this because of my time involved. So for me, it's all about the numbers game and really motivating people is the hard part to your point. Like motivation got to be within. Look in the mirror, right? How do you feel? Do you feel great? Right? Do you want to keep living a life like this? Do you want to pass it down to your kids? Do you not want to change the trajectory of your generational curse, right? People call it. People say, "Oh, I was born with this." You can turn around from things you were born with at the end of the day, right? You don't have to live and live and die with it, right? It really, instead of imprisoning yourself to say, "I'm stuck with this." Oh well, I dealt the cards I was dealt. No, the cards you dealt, they were dealt a certain way, but you got to play that hand to win the game. So
Heck yeah.
All right. So how does this play into disease? You're talking to two people that have gone through prostate cancer. Still, that battle will continue forever. I get to do some radiation coming up. There's that mental funk that goes along with all of that. But exercise and food can help you pull out of that. But you have to do it in the right, I don't know, there's got to be a formula somewhere that says, hey, Steve, you can still have your breakfast tacos. You're in Texas, right? You have to have breakfast tacos, but barbecue it. Oh, now on the backside of that, how do you change that regiment mentally before you get into it?
that's a good segue, right? So, like for example, right, when you come to me, that means you're ready, in my opinion. That means you're ready to change what you've been going through, right? Both, basically, men. I'm talking about men particularly here, right? When men come to another man, we put ego to the side. At that point, we're no longer we're about our egos, right? We're like, I just want to live long. I'm tired of living like this, right? You guys know, right? Going through your and God, thank God you guys are here to talk about your story and really give that feedback to people. 'Cause once again, men are just hard headed. I know me and Rich we talk pretty often enough to he messaged me one day and say, hey man, I know, go get your prostate checked, right? I was like, I am due this year, I think, to get it done. But that one thing men don't want to talk about, right? We don't want to talk about health, right? Most time when men go out, we don't drink, we don't talk about bull crap that don't really matter, or really talk about things that, we don't like to talk about health or death, right? And there's people in general, right? That's just the way life works, right? So for me, it's motivating you to the point of knowing my audience, right? So my clients get an initial call for free. The first 30-minute call, we talk about what motivating you, what can you do? Are you willing to sacrifice your time, sacrifice meal prep, right? Are you willing to eat more vegetables, more fruits? Cause if you have a disease, I gotta be very, very diligent in my background with you, right? Are you on medication? I gotta research that medication. Make sure cause food can counteract some medications if you don't watch it, right? If, for example, right, Crohn's disease, you can't have leafy greens because it'll flare up your Crohn's disease, right? Same with lupus. Lupus has some things you can't have because naturally it'll inflame your joints. So one thing I'm pretty big on is really telling people what you can and can't have with medications and how to counter that, right? So, but after that, it's like, hey, are you truly motivated? Some people are like, I don't want to meal prep. Well, you're not my client. You're not my audience, right? My thing is always be around meal prep because I can't monitor when you go out to eat. I don't care if you're going to Clean Eats. I don't care if you're going to First Watch, right? It's still additives in there. I can't tell you what's in there, right? So when we create meal plans, it's based on, hey, yeah, you're gonna get 5 days of strict behavior. Weekends, we're gonna pivot, right? This is where you're gonna have your cheat meals, right? My algorithm is around that. I create an algorithm of my own that once again I'm an engineer, so my algorithm says, hey, these 5 days, we're gonna create some deficit here. But on weekends, I'm gonna give you two or three cheat meals, your breakfast tacos, right, on Saturday morning. Like, you know what? Cause weekdays, do we really care what we eating? Like, really? Like, you're at work, you're having lunch. You don't really care. You just want to get food in the system, go back to work, get through the week. Weekends where we want to sit down and have that pizza and wings with our family and really have that time to where we can sit down and enjoy the fruits of our labor. And that's my algorithm, right? It's like, hey, give up these weekdays where you don't really care for real. The weekends, let's have fun with it. And that's how you balance it out.
Okay, so the cheat days, this isn't all about weight. This is about just being healthy and making healthy decisions. Because obviously the cheat stuff, if you go, hey, I'm gonna have, a half gallon of chocolate ice cream, that's not really part of the plan, and that's not what you're saying. You can't just go free for all. But
Yeah.
you have to think about this. Now, how much have you done with the additives and all the stuff that's in our food where everybody grabs a quick thing instead of doing it from scratch? What
I
happened?
have I have literally compiled a lot of information over the years, right? So, for example, right, my algorithm also, so a lot of people watch macronutrients. You know what macros are? Fats, proteins, carbs, right? That's as far a lot of people go. A lot of nutritionists, a lot of dietitians, and a lot of personal trainers give you the macros. I'm gonna give you 1-for-1 protein, right? I'm gonna cut your fats a little bit. I'm gonna give you carbs. That don't mean nothing to me. When you get older in your 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, those macronutrients are not as important as those micronutrients, right? So I watch micronutrients more. So I have a list of 30 to 40 micronutrients per client that I watch and monitor. Potassium, vitamin A, D, E, and K. What else? Sugars, cholesterol, iron, zinc. I watch some of these things with clients very, very closely because some of these guys or gals need more specialized approach to where their goals are trying to be, right? So you can't just say, here your macros, guys. Here goes 2,000 calories. Here your macros. Good luck, right? Because you don't need me for that. You can go hire my fitness pal, or you can hire Noom for that. My thing is giving you the ability to really balance your life out. And to your point earlier, sustain that lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle. I don't put people on diets. I create a lifestyle for people.
Well, I know. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just curious. Did you incorporate working out with these approaches too? Like you give them a diet and a workout regimen?
If they need a workout regimen, I usually do that for them too, Rich. That's a good point, right? So the thing about it though is, for example, that's a good point because if I create a workout plan for you and your meal plan, I can maximize you more. Meaning, for example, if you're gonna lift weights one day, I may give you more carbs. I may give you more sugars, right? Because you can create a deficit naturally on that. right? So let's say you're going to burn 500 calories, right? I'm going to add probably 250, 300 more calories to your meal for that plan for that day because you need more calories to burn, right? Don't forget, what do calories stand for, right? What do they stand for? Everybody know what they stand for?
And no,
Energy.
yeah,
Energy.
okay.
Calories mean energy, right? You can't live without food, right? So I have clients that eat too little. I have clients that eat too much, right? A lot of people say, well, I'm eat 1,000 calories. Whoa. No one wants to eat less than 1,200 calories a day. That's just in life. No one should do that, right? So my approach is very detailed with people to really help them reach their goal. And to your point with the workouts, I may pull your carbs totally and pull some sugar if you're not going to do workout that day. You're going to do cardio, you don't need as much food either, right? People don't understand your workout dictates your food intake.
Expand on that.
Okay, so if you're gonna work out with weights, you need more carbs, right? Just naturally, your body need more insulin, turn to sugar turn to energy, and you need that energy to get you through your workout. If you're gonna do cardio, why you need more carbs? You're just gonna run. You don't need a crap load of carbs. You need a bunch of sugar. You're not trying to build muscle at that point, right? So at that point, you need more protein to preserve your muscle, right? If certain things you're gonna do that day, where I'm gonna dictate what you need in your body for nutrition to get you energy through that workout. And
So
you'll sit around. You sit around all day, they don't do anything.
start that
Yeah,
sentence over.
you hear me?
Yeah, we got you
Oh,
now.
sorry, my phone was on stir. I was like,
Oh,
sorry. Can you hear me now?
yes.
So I have clients who don't work out at all. I have clients who are stationary. They don't want to work out. They don't want to do anything. Those are harder clients, right? Usually older people. I was like, can you go walk 30 minutes?
Uh-oh. We lost you.
I am so sorry, guys. Put my phone on disturb. I am so sorry. I didn't
Oh, you're
No,
good.
you're good.
do
The
this real
joy of
quick.
editing.
Your phone's blown up.
I mean, yeah, I did not do it the right way today. We just gonna have to go push through it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're
Well,
fine.
like I was saying though, some clients don't want to work out, so those clients are a little bit harder because you're not as active. What they say, our body in motion stays in motion, right? That one thing I try to help my clients do. And once again, if you're not working to work out or move around, you're not a good candidate for my system.
Your
Right.
clients that you do work out, do you take them to the gym? Are you like a personal trainer also, or no?
I am not. I would say that outright. I am not a personal trainer. I tried that many moons ago. One thing about one thing about personal training is, um, I'm not gonna crap on them because personal trainers are needed, but they're not nutrition oriented. They're just not right. They know macros. Once again, they know proteins, they know carbs, they know fats. Right. My thing is food is a healing potion, guys. Like food can heal you naturally, right? Now, if you want to lose weight and be more healthy, you want to get in motion. But food can heal you. For example, I would say all men should do some type of beet juice, ginger, turmeric, just for libido purposes and for blood flow. Oxidants are very good for your body. So I tell all men, like, hey man, you can take in some beet juice once in a while, some turmeric, some ginger, and multivitamin. Like, so those things help your body stay in motion. You can't take everything in through food. You just can't. I'll be honest with you, right? So sometimes we gotta supplement that with supplementation, which is a vitamin, whether it's CLA, which is conjugated linoleic acid, or zinc, things like that, right? Some things your body just can't take in through food because it's hard. You sit around and look at all the things you're supposed to have per day. You would sit around and eat food all day, right? So you don't want to do that, right? You want to be very careful with your. Not only that, food is expensive, not cheap anymore, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So with this, when people are, you said you get down to a macro level, and when you do that, I see all the fad stuff. I mean, keto, I lost weight with keto. You get off keto, you stop weighing food and measuring all that stuff, and it comes back, right? And you go, okay, that is a pain to do all that, but it was effective for a little bit, not a lifestyle change. Because I'm telling you, some of this stuff, I go, how can I eat this much carbs and this much fat? And, you had people, well, you can just take a bite of butter and a stick of butter. And you think that's okay. That's not heart healthy. We have to think about all of this. So when you look at people, you're looking at their genetics as well, right? What kind of family history they have for this. So prostate cancer, they said, walk, walk, walk. You're going to walk forever with this. But there has to be other things that can go along with once you have your prostate removed, you don't have to worry about prostate health, but the mental decline, the your brain's not quite as sharp because of everything that you've gone through. There's a lot of things on the backside. You talked about blood flow. That's another one that's a big one, right? So if you can help increase that, not only with the Cialis that they tell you to take daily or whatever, but you can help naturally speed up some of these processes. True?
Yeah, very true. I'm telling you, like you, it's this guy that I used to follow, Dr. Stevie. He was a little bit extreme. I'll say it outright, a little bit extreme. But some things that I learned through him that I'm like, okay, these things do make sense. And what I do too is I do trial and error, right? I don't. What I tell my clients, I try it first. I'm not going to tell them to go do something that that may harm them or may not work in their favor, right? I'm my own test dummy. Now, granted, I can't always be a test dummy for people with certain disease because I don't have that disease, right? It's hard for me to be a test dummy there. But for flavor and taste and making sure they feel right, I make sure some things I try myself. But food, once again, is a healing thing. Think about, you know, before we became civilized people, right? These people out in the forest, out in the jungle, wherever they may be, right, living off the land, it had healing capability through food, right? Some of these things that we have came a culture of pharmacy. I just say it outright, right? Let's go to the pharmacy. You go
Yeah.
to the doctor. High blood pressure. Don't cut sodium. Here's a medicine, right? That will we have get gotten to as a culture in America, right? Once again, and I give RFJ his credit, right? Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing a great thing out here with some of these red dot number 5, yellow number 3s, whatever,
Yeah.
getting rid of these things, right? It's been banned in the UK for a decade, right? In 1990s, Paris or France passed a law to cut sodium by 30%, right? We over here, you think about Takis, you think about Skittles, think about these things that we're eating. These things are full of not, they call it artificial ingredients. What is artificial? What is that? Like, what does that mean? Right? So I'll give
Mm-hmm.
you an example. Oh, no, yellow number 5, right? I think I'm saying that right. Yellow number 5 or yellow number, I'm talking now, come my brain. But it's a yellow dye that, you know where it come from? It come from
Crude oil.
worse than that. It come from it come from beetle, oh no, beaver anal glands.
What?
Look it up.
Oh, yeah,
Look it
now
up.
who
I think it's
decided?
yellow number 5. It comes from
Somebody,
beaver anal glands.
you know
It has
what?
an
We don't do it.
artificial flavor. Say it again.
How do they come up
No,
with that?
that's it. You know, you thought it was bad when they said, "Hey, what are those dangly things under the cow? Let's drink that and see if it's any good."
Yeah.
To going an anal gland for coloring and for artificial. No, stop.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
mean,
they're
who
doing this.
to your point, you just said how who went outside and said, "Hey, beaver,
Yeah,
come here." Well,
Let me scrape your butthole.
but
this is
that will
going to
be
be good.
I mean, but there where we got to though, right? We got to the point to where these things are really harming us, right? Think about, and I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole, but think about autism, ADHD, how more prevalent it is today than it was back in the 60s and 70s, right? And people ask me all the time, like, people ask me all the time, well, my grandma did it. Because my granddad did it. I'm like, yeah, they did, but they also grew their food in their backyard naturally,
Yeah.
right? There's a big difference between what we growing today, mass production, versus what they grew and bartered. They bartered and traded in a village, basically community. I'm gonna give you my vegetables for your pig lard, right? Natural pig lard. Like pork is not bad for you when it's grown naturally. It's when it's mass produced in this small cage, and they're just out there passing disease around, right? So one thing people don't realize is you can't. We don't morph as a country to where 50 years ago people lived off the land themselves. Now we're living off mass production and GMOs.
Yeah. And now they want to grow meat in a lab. Like, who the hell's idea was that?
And so that's another piece we can talk about real quick. That was passed by the FDA. The FDA had passed that rule, passed that law, and right now I want to say it's three cities or 3 states that are running pilots without telling you. The law is they don't tell you the meat grown in the lab anymore, or clone meat grown in the lab, and they have to tell you that they did this. Is a law where they don't tell you anything going forward. They just give it to you, and you just basically good luck. Right. So even glue meat. You heard of glue meat before? Glue meat.
No.
So glue meat. If you go to a store, they can glue meat together. It's called glue meat, right? They actually use edible glue to glue pieces of steak together. It usually used for red meat, right? So red meat sometimes pull apart. You see the veiny stuff or the cartilage. Sometimes that's glue. So you gotta be very careful because now they are allowed to glue meat together to make a whole steak.
Good Lord.
And you had a steak just a little while
I
ago.
did.
With or without the glue. But
So
you
with that being said, go to a butcher. Butchers still go to the source, right? It's just once again when you mass produce something to these stores, they're trying to feed a community of people. Let's be honest, America's gluttonous. We are very gluttonous over here, right? I mean, we are number one producer, like we're number one consumer of electronics and of beef in the world. So
Yeah.
I won't say that out loud, right? But once again, I tell you all the time, you can go to local mom and pop stores and butchers. Yeah, cause they literally thrive from from farmers markets and local farms and such. So those are the people that we should be supporting because they're the ones that trying to keep us alive and make a small living off us. They're not making a killing off us at all. You go to a butcher, their profit margin is minimum. I'll tell you that now. It's very, very minimal.
And I like the farmers markets and little vegetable stands and stuff that are going on. And if people go, oh, come on, you can go to the store and get that. And I go, your plastic tomato, all you have to do is successfully grow a tomato in the backyard, put it in a container. You taste that tomato coming off that plant and you realize the crap that you're eating and the plastic stuff that I call them plastic tomatoes. But when you pick them up on the vine and every one of those tomatoes is the exact same shape, and the exact same color at the exact same time. You don't have that in the backyard, right? You don't
Yeah.
have that at the little stands and stuff. And I'm a big proponent in why. How about the hormones in the beef? Is that being passed on to the children? Is it in the milk? Is it and is this why where girls are starting their periods when they're in fourth grade and they're really, really young and it keeps going down? It's because of the junk that we're eating, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, of course. I mean, I would outright say that, right? Like, I mentor kids every summer, in Nashville at this acting camp. They this guy that started an acting camp where he teach people how to act in theater, and what he does, he incorporate nutrition into it and working out, right, which is a great thing to get these kids on board. And you'll be amazed how many kids were there. I was like, these not adults, right? These not adults. This boy is 6 feet tall, at 13 years old, right? This girl is fully developed as a young lady. Like, what is going on here? And it's food. It's literally the hormones. Think about it. If you shoot up hormones into a cow and the cow eaten by a child, you're passing along that the hormone. The whole thing, you pass it down, pass it down, pass it down, right? That's what you're doing, right? You're passing these things along. You're not doing it directly. You indirectly passing things along, right? It's a legal way to give us drugs without giving us drugs.
Exactly.
Well, and that's it. And you hit on the pharmaceutical garbage can that people, that big handful of pills, and you go, wait a second, and I will say keto did this. They go, why is your blood pressure lower? Why is okay, it's different now than it was. You noticed a change. What are you doing? Keto. And they go, oh, don't do that.
Yeah,
And
keto to me is one of those things. To your point, I think you said it earlier, like it's a temporary fix to a long term problem, right? If you want to jumpstart a diet or jumpstart a lifestyle change, yeah, go keto for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But anytime you start creating a deficit with other nutrients, at the end of the day, meat, fat, butter can't give you the other nutrients, right? It can't give you vitamin E and vitamin K, right? So those things come from vegetables and fruits, right? Vitamin C, another example, right? You can't get vitamin C from meat. You can't, right? You can't get it from butter. You can't get it from fat. Vitamin C comes from carrots, oranges, and other supplementation, right? These things you got to take in. And once again, it's all about a balance, right? The problem is everybody want a quick fix. Everybody want a quick fix. Like, I just want to get weight off me. And I made a post the other day, and as I made it yesterday, your size doesn't dictate whether whether you feel fit or healthy. It doesn't dictate that, right? I know bigger people who are more healthy than I am, right? What dictates that is your blood work, right? Now, I'm not saying you can be morbidly obese. I'm not saying that, right? I'm not saying be 500 pounds out here. That's just not being healthy. But a person who is 250 is 6 feet tall and got a little meat bones don't mean they're unhealthy, right? Because that's an old stat, right? Think about the old stat they pull out, the whole chart just says, hey, Rich, you got to be, if you're 5'10", you got to be 185 or less. Like, hey, man, goodness God almighty, right? Like, those are old charts that we're trying to get, and funny, I talked to my doctor about it, and we try to get, he's trying to get the change. I'm like, I'm an advocate for changing these charts, right? We are a bigger culture now. Even in France, even in you go to Europe, you go to Africa, you go anywhere. People are just getting bigger in life, and it's not always because the food does it. It's just we're evolving, right? We're evolving as people, right? Football players are faster, stronger, right? All these things are happening. Why? Because we're evolving. And when we evolve, medical got to evolve too. And they're not evolving as fast as we would like with some of these things, right? Hence what they saying, go get this medicine. It'll fix your problems. Don't worry about anything else. We're going to fix you with this medicine for the rest of your life. You're going to be good. Who wants that rest of their life at 30 years old, take a
Yeah.
pill every day for the rest of your life when
Yeah.
it can be reversed?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
There's some
things
good
like that.
Now, how about the people that are out there that say, I have the perfect solution? There was a big thing going on. You take vitamin D in high doses, and you make sure you take K along with it, because if you don't, you have problems. And it, so people were ingesting huge amounts of vitamin D with a K supplement or something like that. What were they really doing?
No clue. It's my
Yeah.
first time hearing this.
Yeah.
But I know with anything you take in high doses, it creates a deficiency, right? So when you take in, let's say for example, Steve, I say, hey man, you go take in hell of iron, right? Let's take in all the iron you can for a very long time. Your body get used to that. And when you get used to it, it creates deficiency, right? Now you may go to anemic. You may be when you come off of it, you may go to anemic mode, right? When you're people who are anemic, they take in more iron and they, just naturally need more iron to stay cool or stay warm, I guess. Right. If I tell you, hey, take in more iron, high doses for a certain amount of time, your body gonna start wanting that every day, and you're gonna create anemic syndrome, right? So it's certain things that people are doing out here in high dosage for no reason. There is no reason ever to go over a 10,000% per day on something. So for example, when you take in a multivitamin, look on the bottle. It says 1,000% of everything. Anybody notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Why the heck do I need 1,000% of something in supplementation?
Right.
Right. Well, the problem is your body rejects it. Right. So what happens is if say 1,000%, knowing your body only digest probably 80%. So you're gonna lose 90% to your body like, I don't want this, I don't need it. I'm gonna waste that. Hence why you take number twos and number ones, right? Number ones, number twos is waste. Your body like, I don't need these things in my body, I'm gonna waste it. Right. I guarantee you today, if you took high doses of vitamin C, your urine gonna be real yellow, like, yeah, I don't want this. I'm gonna waste this, right? Not only that, you create a better problem, right? Some things create issues with other organs. For example, people get kidney stones, right? From what? Too much calcium in their body, right? The same thing with your bladder. Your bladder can go in shutdown mode when you do too many things with it. There's certain things your body would reject and create organ issues if you don't watch it, right? So that's why I tell people all the time, like moderation, right? Create habits to where you don't need to go off the rail to do something so extreme where you may harm your body even more.
Okay. How about fish oil?
Fish oil is a great one, right? Once again, omega threes, omega sixes, the way they got, the way it's high end is an all natural fat burner. People don't realize that, right? But being an all natural fat burner, your body. So if
You there?
fish oil is fat, it's just pure fat, right? It's a fat burning fat, which sounds weird, right? Like what? Fat burning fat. So yeah, kind of like eggs, right? Eggs have omega threes in them with some of them, right? It does a fat burning fat, right? It's good for you supplementation wise, just not overly going out there and doing it. Like no point taking 8 pills a day at that point.
Right. Well, I mean,
Nope.
I take a couple fish oils every morning, and when I did that, blood pressure
Hmm.
actually went down, and I said, I'm gonna get rid of or lower medicines, and I think that is something that people need to be aware of. If you can get rid of some of these pills you're taking, because a lot of times you're taking a pill because you're taking another pill, and they're trying to solve the problem that you took on the first one. And that is exactly what you're saying. Nutrition, when you get
Yeah,
too much of something, it's going to create a problem. So,
exactly.
and so, I mean, this whole thing to me is a little scary because there's so much misinformation. And people go, well, I read that online. And I go, you know what? Most of what's online,
Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties.
that's all right. We love to edit. So with the medicines doing that, you can do that with food too. If you
Yeah.
have too much of one food, it's oh no, that's going to cause a problem, which causes other problems. So,
Yeah.
how do you keep it in balance and know what you need for your particular body type style? I mean, I'm obviously different in the way I metabolize food than the next door neighbor.
I'll say this, some of it's trial and error, Steve. I'm be honest with you, right? You're never gonna know from day one, right? I tell my patients, I mean, not my patients, my clients all the time, be patient, right? Let's figure it out together. It may be a little bit of a lessons learned with some things we got to do, but everybody's body a little bit different, right? But the thing is to be consistent, right? Like, hey, listen, we're gonna figure it out. And people gotta, everybody, once again, everybody want a quick fix, everybody want it fast as possible, right? Kind of go to the doctor. Sometimes they don't know. They're like, hey, come back for more tests. It's the same thing with nutrition and food. Let's keep going. Let's try something different, right? But at the end of the day, we all know food can heal you, right? I mean, once again, we have saw people reverse a lot of things, like diabetes, right? You can reverse diabetes as long as it's type, I won't say type two, I would get them mixed up, right? Some you're born with, you're gonna live with it, but that don't mean you gotta just be like, well, I'm not gonna care about it. They got insulin for me, right? But type two, for example, you can reverse that, right? When you actually create it over time, eating sugar and really just being not being your game, right? Those things. I haven't had a client that I got off insulin, right? They was on insulin. I got them off insulin totally, and the doctor literally wanted to talk to me in person about how did I do that? How do you figure this out? And I'm just like, I don't want to talk to you because first of all, you're a doctor, you know. And I'm like, I'm not gonna give you my secrets, but if the high blood pressure, right? Another one, like, it's not a death sentence, guys. It's literally something we can go reverse, right? It's things that we can not only that or control through food, where you don't have to just say, forget it, I'm eat what I want to eat because I'm on medication. I think that's the main thing people do, though, right? People say, I'm gonna take this medicine so I'll be okay. No, you're really digging yourself an early grave because that medicine at some point it's gonna be go back more and more dosage as you have to through life, right? If you keep staying on medicine so long, your body like, well, I need more of that. I need more of that. So you start at 10 milligrams, then you at 20, now you at 25, now you at 50, now you at 100, right? Now your body's starting to
On it.
take this in and reject it. Like, hey, hence why some people fall dead in their face at an early age because they have to stop caring and depend on that medicine to heal them. And that's the way to go by it, right? So I tell people all the time, like, look in the mirror. How do you feel? My thing will be how you feel, right? For example, in the morning when I eat my cheap breakfast, they call it cheap breakfast, right? Pancakes, sausage. Once a month I do this. I go all in. I fall asleep instantly. My body
Yeah.
like,
I'm gonna ask if your body rejected that and you go, now I feel sick because I got away from all that.
well, and think about it. Most of the time in America, our biggest meal sometimes is breakfast, right? I mean, we love a big breakfast, right? You
Yeah.
go to IHOP, you go to Denny's, you go to Cracker Barrel. It's like I want pancakes, I want sausage, I want the hash brown casserole, and that is our breakfast on a normal, right? If you go to Europe, anybody been to Europe? I have many times, right? Euro breakfast is literally tea and biscuits. And biscuits are a little cookie. It's a little cookie, right? I went to France and they gave me coffee and a croissant. I'm like, where the hell is my bacon? Where the hell is my biscuit? Like, I want more than this.
In between that croissant, come on.
They sat there and said, you it could be a fat American.
Yeah.
Right, but even in Italy, right? I mean, they were friends. Italy was like, no, we don't really eat breakfast like that here. Like, they give you a little bit of like continental breakfast. It's like there's enough to feed a child. But once again, though, we had the biggest meals that I don't see them anywhere in the world. Right? You guys, we go out to eat. You get a big old burger, get a plate of fries, and we don't have. We have the culture of big, right? Everything's bigger in Texas for sure, right? But everything's bigger in America, just in general, right? So then once again, that's why I really appreciate RFK really looking at this and saying, hey, we got to reverse these things, right? Kids growing up bigger, more disease, autism is an all time high, right? And that's due to let's be real. What's the common denominator? It's food, right? Same with ADHD, ADD, right? These people nowadays need more Adderall. These kids need more Adderall. Like, why they so hyper, or their attention span not there, or certain things happening? It's because the food that they're creating in mass production is just not good for us. Cereal is none of my clients get cereal. I just say, all right, you want cereal? Don't come to me. I don't want to give you cereal. Um,
Isn't
like
cereal the one that started the whole breakfast is the most important? It was an ad campaign. The most important meal of the day was cereal to promote, hey, you know what? We came up with this. Let's figure out how to do it. Thanks, Kellogg's. But it went. Have you ever had a bowl of cereal with the serving size that they tell you to have?
I have not. It's literally a half a cup. Like I'm a grown
Yeah.
man. I
You
want
know,
half the box.
that's to do it.
Well,
You have the bowl that's big enough so when you run out of cereal, you can add more because you
That's
still have.
true.
That's the way we eat.
and
But
think about this too, right? And I don't want to go too deep into the nutrition piece, but if we go get a bowl of Fruit Loops, right? It says a serving size is a half a cup. Let's stop that now. I'm gonna do a whole cup, sick of argument. 300 calories, 40 grams of sugar. That's the first piece. That's just the cereal. Then now we're gonna go get some milk, right? We're gonna get a whole milk, a cup of whole milk at 150 calories, and guess what? It has more sugar in it. People don't understand milk has sugar, right? That's why people get lactose intolerant. Anything that ends in OSE is sugar. So now you add more sugar to your cereal, and now you're sitting at 50 grams of sugar before you start your day up,
mhm.
right? You add 50 grams of sugar, you add 700 calories, and your day ain't got started yet. With
No,
no nutrition whatsoever besides protein, right?
they stop by with Starbucks and get another big macchiato something, and it has more sugar. So we're sugar dependent. I mean,
Yeah.
people are, and the more sugar you eat, the more you want, and it's that slippery slope of running that way. But I think the additives and the fact that like Monsanto owns the corn and it's only coming from one source, where
Mm.
before it didn't, it came from all farms and they all did, the wheat came in and they did flour, and it wasn't, if you use one single source, that's what's going to happen. You're going to find people that don't have a tolerance for that because it was so low in the big mix of things, but now everybody's using the same thing.
Yeah.
Just a theory. I don't know if that's true or
No,
not.
no, no. That's a good point. Cause it's funny. Cause people don't realize the number one food that been linked to obesity is corn.
Corn.
Think about it. You
It's
feed corn.
everywhere.
You feed corn to a cow. You feed
Yep.
corn to a pig. You feed
Yep.
corn to a chicken. You got high fructose corn syrup,
Uh-huh.
right? Everything has corn in it now. Like, right, corn is just being used. Corn is supposed to be healthy. We done took corn and made it to a fattener, like kind of like cornstarch. Like, oh, add cornstarch to it, right? Hey, man, like we took corn and made it to a additive for everything in the worst way, right? And it's funny that I got a mentor. He was like, yeah, corn has been linked to obesity across the board. There's no way around it now. You go buy a bag of chips. Why would it have high fructose corn syrup in it? Right? What the hell are we doing here? McDonald's fries. I'm gonna use that as an example. Who loves McDonald's fries? Everybody does. McDonald's fries are to die for. When they started in 1960s, Ray Kroc them had a source in out of Idaho who made French fries. They cut them, and it was just potatoes, salt, and oil. Now go look at McDonald's French fries recipe. 20 some ingredients. Like, what the hell are y'all doing with it's with French fries? It's supposed to be potatoes, oil, and salt, and maybe some potassium citrate or something plus preservative.
Preserves. Yeah, you got to preserve it.
But how do we get the 20 ingredients for French fries?
And because it's cheaper to do it that way. It's
And
cheaper to build the artificial flavors and add the sugars and stuff because you know what? And all the salts because it makes it taste better. People think low fat's the way to go. Well, the low fat, yeah, there's no fat, but they add more sugar because they can't, your palate doesn't like it. So those choices, if you turn those labels around and start reading them, and I've done that because my mom had high cholesterol and, she was doing her statins since the 70s. But when you look at the stuff, I go, okay, the doctor said, Steve, you have in the bloodline, you're gonna have issues with this if you don't watch it. Well, there's heart disease and there's cancers and there's all these things, and they're all being amplified. And are you gonna boil that all down to the food? I don't know
well,
what else to blame. Food or
Yeah,
medicine?
yeah, I'll put it on both, right? I'll put it on the fact that the USDA, FDA, whoever you want to call it, right, is really being lobbied by the farm, right? Hey, we don't care what you do because hey FDA, hey USDA, go ahead and pass this because we got some medicine to fix them. They get sick, right? It's really a cahoots. I call it cahoots, right? At the end of the day, it's cahoots. Because once again, look at Europe, right? French fries in Europe, McDonald's French fries in Europe are not the same. Let me say that again. They're not the same 20 ingredients, right? It's like 6 ingredients because they care about their people because I don't want to go this route. Universal health care costs them money. So naturally, you can't bring that crap in our country because we paying for this, right? And
Right.
we paying for their pharmaceuticals. So we got to push back a little bit because they going to cost us money. Hence why they don't allow that. Same thing with Russia. I don't like Russia. I said out loud, but they don't allow American chicken in Russia no more because of antibiotics, right? So I failed to say this, right? We can heal ourselves with making right choices, just some right choices. Some. I'm not saying go 100% organic. I'm not saying go out there and cut out your desserts, your cocktails, but just be a little bit more mindful, right? Be a little bit more mindful. Like, and yeah, I want to ask y'all a question because I think this is a good question I want to ask. I never had a prostate cancer patient. So once again, thank you guys for being here, being alive. What the thing the doctor told you most about your cancer prognosis, or when they went through it? What they say? How do you stay healthy?
Walk, walk, walk. And they do say Mediterranean diet. That's what they're doing on the backside. Limit your protein, lots of fruits and vegetables. 2/3 of your plate need to be, green leafies or something, and you don't stick with one vegetable. I mean, that's what they're promoting is Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit there and say that's wrong. Because Mediterranean diets are they're pretty rich in high fat, healthy fats. They're pretty like olive oils, right? The olives, the vegetables, the feta cheeses, right? Lamb. That lamb is one of those, iffy subjects. Like, but to your point, right? It's a lot of fruits and veggies. I went to Greece actually, and I was amazed about how much vegetables they give you, right? How much they do a lot of cheese too. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty shocked at the cheese, but also when I ate, I didn't feel full, right? I could eat as much as I wanted to, and I was still mobile. If I do the same exact plate they gave me in Greece, I did it here. I wouldn't be mobile. I'll be half asleep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
I
what's the difference?
always want to know what they gave you guys. Cause at the end of the day, it's like, okay, are they telling you guys like, here's a medicine, just try to do better with food, or they really give you a process there?
No, I don't. My doctor did not give me a process. My process came from doing research, trying to figure out how to overcome this and live with these side effects and all of the things that go along with it. And reoccurrence, it happens. And how do you deal with that on the backside? I think a lot of the prostate cancer journey is mental. I think there's so much going on. There's so much confusion. There's so much hurry up and wait for appointments, for results, for more testing, and all of the things you do. And your brain is instantly going to the worst case scenario. You have to stop the stinking thinking and try to get on with it. His doctor told him, "We're going to worry about the cancer. You worry about living." And I've repeated that 100 times since he said it. But one thing that I ask what is your PSA? Because that is the first piece of the puzzle. That's the first inkling that something could be going wrong. But that isn't a death sentence if your PSA goes up, because a lot of things can cause your PSA to go up. Your exercising can do it, riding bikes, sexual activity, all of the things that can have that fluctuate. But they're looking for that increase, the doubling time, and all of the things that go with it. But on the backside, once you have your surgery, you don't have a follow up of how to be healthy and stay healthy. And I think the entire medical community in the US lacks that. When you
Oh,
go to the
absolutely.
doctor, they don't tell you what to eat and what not to eat. They tell you take this pill. Well, I tried that and it made, well, if it does, let me know. I've got another pill to counteract that. And I go, no,
Yeah,
that's a road you don't want to go down. You go, okay, something natural that's going to be on the backside of this, but the government's scared of plants and they're scared of the healing properties of things they don't understand. They're trying to do, oh, you should not eat one of those gummies because it's terrible for you. But look, we have a synthetic THC pill that you can take. Why are you making that synthetic when somebody's getting relief through cancer treatment, through whatever?
yeah.
um there's a lot of people, PTSD, a lot of things are being helped with this, and now the studies are being opened up because of the states that have legalized it. But there's not enough research being done on that, and the research that they're doing on medicines, do we ever get to see that?
First of all, that'd be real, right? It's a control mechanism, right? If you can go get something from a person, right? We're not. Whoa, that's bad. Don't go to that person and get no marijuana. Whoa, we got some over here they're controlled, and we can charge you triple the amount. And don't worry about it. Your insurance will pay for it, right? We all know insurance companies cahoot. Everybody cahoots with each other, right? So I think more so will be America. I mean, I don't want to say America. I want to say our government is really it won't control us to a certain degree, right? It the we all know money is not into the cure. Money to treatment.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to cure you when I can treat you the rest of your life and get money from you forever?
Right. Exactly.
Right? I want to babysit you. Like, I want to babysit you for the rest of your life. Don't worry about it. We got you. Take this medicine. And know what? When you need more, we can up your dosage. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And let's be real, your quality of life is not the same when you worry about missing your medicine. Oh shoot, when you travel, like my medicine at home, that's a scary moment for some of us, right? When I had atrial flutter, I was scared to leave home. Period. I was like, to travel, like make sure I get my medicine. I literally had to. I made an alarm when I travel. Don't forget your medicine, right? And that's a scare mechanism they give you, right? We're gonna scare you because without this medicine, you could die, and that's scary, right? That's a scary moment in your life, right, guys? And you've been there where people are like, hey, take your medicine or it might not be good for you. And that's where, for me, that when that fear factor comes in is where we're scared. We're scared culture now based on the fact on things we heard, things that happen, right? Like COVID, perfect example of that. COVID had everybody scared, right? I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but that's a perfect example of a fear factor, right?
Yep. Yeah. Uh,
Got control the masses, man.
that's
Yeah, you gotta
right.
control the masses, man. Like, and once again, another rabbit hole. Ivermectin, right? That was another subject we talk about later on in life, but they were like, no, 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 we'll give you shots. And I'll be honest, right? I really think some of my heart problem came from the COVID shots. That's just my belief, right? I went to research. It's funny because my whole journey of the atrial flutter, right? Was different, right? After my second shot, I went into atrial flutter. I didn't even know it, right? Because I'm in such a great shape. They were like, hey, it's funny. January, I got my second shot. By February, I had palpitations in my watch. Where I go, my Apple Watch is my lifeline. They're my lifeline. I'm sorry to say that. I'll tell any man out here who's older who had any kind of issues with their heart, get you a watch, a tracker, for that purpose.
Yep.
My watch kept going off, and I ignored it. Once again, my man, I can fix it. Don't worry about it. I'll be all right. And so fast forward one morning, I get up and I just like, oh no, I go to the ER. Go to the ER. My heart rate is at 130. It's 5:30 in the morning. Heart rate at 130, and my blood pressure is 170 over 110 roughly. They were like, you finna stroke out. They're like, calm down. I say it's 5:30 in the morning, guys. I am calm. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, so I get back there, and of course, they don't know what's going on. Fast forward, I go to my doctor at Vanderbilt, and he was like, "Yeah, you're an atrial flutter." And they were like, "We can fix this. Next week we can do surgery. It's catheter ablation." They go in there, they ablate me. Kind of find out my ejection fraction was at less than 10%. And I don't know if I know what that means, but that means your heart capacity, it usually around 60 or 55 to 70. Mine was lower than 10, right? And they said we did not know that because we thought you was young and healthy. You're young and healthy, so we didn't do an echo on you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so I'm gonna go come back to that point. So they get in there, they do the ablation, they get in and out as fast as they can because you're like your heart cannot be on anesthesia too much longer, right? And they were like, hey, yeah, we thought you were young and strong and healthy, and that's why we didn't do the echo in forefront because we thought you would be okay. I failed it to say this: no matter how young or old you are, you don't ever think you're healthy, right? Go get things done. Go get your checkups, right? Go get things preventive maintenance. Like you drive a car, right? You don't wait till your car break down to get an oil change. You get an oil change to prevent that breakdown, right?
Exactly.
The same with our bodies, right? Our bodies need to be men. Once again, men. I tell you now, hard headed as hell. We are the hard headed people in the world. Most of my clients are women because men don't want to ask for help. But I tell people all the time, I was 40 years old and almost died based on my own ignorance of saying, forget that watch. It don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. Right. And then where I say, hey, going forward, if I feel anything going wrong, I'm going to the doctor. But I'm also get preventive maintenance. I get my checkups, right? I go twice a year now out of pocket because I'm like, money is renewable. My life is not.
Right. So what is your PSA?
What PA stand for? You kept saying PSA, and I want to ask you that.
Uh,
Prostate specific antigen.
I
Your
have no clue. I haven't got that tested yet, I don't think. And maybe I have
Okay.
got it tested. I don't know about it. But
Coach,
that's a
Well,
good. Go ahead.
I'm telling you, next time you go in, blood test, say, hey, can you check my PSA? Because you need a baseline at your age now so you can see what it's going to do. I ask everybody, hey, what's your PSA? And they go, what are you talking about?
So,
It's
it's so funny because Friday my blood work get done this week and my checkup is next week, and
uh
my doctor already made I made a deal. I was talking to Richard this year to get that done this year.
there
Now the
you go.
problem is, once again, insurance companies don't want to pay for it to a certain age, right?
exactly.
Go
It's
ahead, Rich.
$20. It's 20 or $30 is all the test cost.
Yeah,
Let me know. I'll send you a check.
yeah.
Um, I mean, this is how serious this
Yeah,
is, right?
and it is right. And
You
once
have to
again,
know.
and doctors don't tell you that until the insurance approves it, right? So that one thing to your point earlier, we got to educate ourselves. And just now, I learned from you guys knowing that hey, PSA need to be checked. My doctor never ever said anything about PSA in my entire life. He was like, hey, we do a prostate check at 45. I'm like, well, and me being African American, I'm just being real. We are
Have
more
a higher
prone to
rate.
it. We're more prone
Correct.
to it at early age, right? But
Right.
Yes.
once again, insurance say, hey, 45 when you get it done. Kind of like women with breast, with the breast cancer, right? The check, I think at 42, 43 now. They lowered it a little bit, but it went back up again, I think, due to some regulations changes in insurance thing. So I'm definitely getting that check this week though. Like once again, I already got an appointment set up for Friday morning for blood work, and next
There you
week
go.
is my consultation. So
See, there you go, Richard. Way to go.
yeah, Richard got me on that. He was like, hey man, I was like,
We're
I'm working
having the
everybody.
contest.
Working everybody.
Yeah,
yeah.
we have a contest going on. Going, how many did you get this week? And I go, well, he still has. I have a guy at work. He went to have his physical for his CDL, and they said you have protein in your urine, and you need to have that checked out. And he said, nah, they've told me about that for the last 3 years. And I about fell out of my chair. I go, dude, do you not realize what I just went through? Don't play around with this. But as men, we don't want to do that. And prostate, it's funny. I said something about prostate cancer at work when I first found out that I was gonna have to go through all this stuff. And the guy says, so what do they do? Do they have to do surgery on your penis? And I go, you have no idea where your prostate's located, number one. And number two, be careful what doctor you're going to if that's where they're checking your. No, that's
Yeah.
not. I saw, holy cow. But the ignorance of it, I didn't have all that information. Richard didn't have all that information unless you know somebody that's gone through it and you've helped them or a family member and you're a support staff. You don't know. When you say PSA and we throw all this stuff around on the podcast and we go, stop, people may not know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's back it up. What's a DRE? That's, a completely different thing. And that's your digital rectal exam where they put the glove on.
Yeah.
which is after you go, I mean, there's steps that they take to make sure. Is it just an enlarged prostate?
And
Are
all
you
the
having
steps suck. I'm going to tell you
Yeah.
right now.
Well, I'm telling you though, out of all of these steps, neither one of us had any symptoms. The typical symptom stuff didn't happen.
And you think nowadays we're being so much easier, like color guard, right? Color guard is one of those things you can go out and do now. It's so many different ways to where you can do it, and you don't have to go to the doctor and stick up your rectum, right? It's like it's certain ways now to go get it tested out. The best way, I think, is through the through the the backside. But
You're talking about colon cancer, though. The Cologuard, that's looking for colon cancer. Prostate cancer, different. They can't test it anyway. I mean, you're going to do it with a PSA, which is that red flag, right?
mm,
That is going to be the first thing they do.
see, I'll
Then
be
they
educated.
do,
I'll be educated now. See, so once
well, then
again,
they're
this
going to
this is
do,
where we can educate each other, right? Like I'm learning from
right,
you guys now. Cause
right.
I thought also now you can do it through blood work for prostate, but now I'm hearing that.
No, the blood work is that PSA that you're going to do. But that only tells you that there's a situation they need to look at. Then what activities have you been doing? But if they see that year after year, that increase, and they go, whoa, Steve, how did you get from 4.2 to 5.6, then to 8.8? And when it hit 8.8, we went, oh no. Um, I didn't have any symptoms. I wasn't getting up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night unless I'd been drinking, but it never, and they go, okay, you had to have symptoms. You have a really large pyrad 5 lesion on your prostate. It's big. You had to have and you go, well, your prostate's not big. This lesion is big. And
Mm,
so when they went through all of this, it's scary. Every step you go, cancer, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And it's that first thing in your brain. And then when you get done with this, you say, how do I live healthier? How do I make things better so I don't have to deal with this? How do I make sure other people don't have to deal with this? If you catch this soon enough, things are a whole lot easier, right? You can go in and they can do whatever. You have multiple choices. You can do radiation, you can do surgery. I mean, there's things they can do, but it is an individual procedure, and those steps are taken because of the test results and the thing that they find. Kind of like you're looking at nutrition and you go, you're lacking in vitamin D. Little kid, get off. They're not outside playing. They're
yeah,
not outside all the time like we were. There's a vitamin D deficiency according to the government. That's the latest news. And I go, why?
yeah. I mean, once again, and this is where I think I'm learning. I really appreciate you educating me on that because I literally thought my doctor told me like, yeah, we're gonna do through blood work. The test, I was like, I thought you had to go go through it and find out. But now I'm
Right.
hearing like, okay, the first step is really going to get tested for it, and then if it didn't come back, if it didn't come back abnormal, then they go through the process of the liquid, the liquid diet. Am I saying that right? Where you got to clean yourself out a little bit.
Nope, wrong thing. That's
Once
back to
again,
colon.
once
That's
again,
back to
and,
colon
and
cancer.
see, and see, this is where a lot of people intertwine those two, right?
Yeah,
People
sure.
intertwine colonoscopy with the prostate
I
exam.
I had to clean out for a couple of my tests.
You will, yes. But I
I
mean, that's not
biopsy.
the same as them going in and scoping you to find out if you have colon cancer and looking for polyps and all of that. Your prostate is sitting right underneath your bladder. Your urethra runs right through it. So when it swells, it crimps down on the urethra and you don't get to urinate like you used to. So when you have an enlarged prostate, that happens. That doesn't mean you have cancer. You can have an enlarged prostate,
Mhm.
and there's medicines for that. Diet stuff that you can help, I think, with that. But when they say cancer, it wakes your brain up, and you know, how do I get healthier than I am right now?
Yeah, I think the thing though, there to your point, Steve. I know we probably getting that time a little bit, but I'm gonna say one thing. I think there's where we have people just have to get ahead of the game, right? I think we have to be just mindful who we put in our body, mindful of things that we're doing. Are we active, right? Because at the end of the day, right, it's anomalies out there. Some people are predisposed to some of these things, and it's gonna happen to some of us, right? Even no matter what we do in life, right? It's kind of like someone who jogs every day and have a heart attack. Like, how do they have a heart attack? they had something that that we couldn't. It was DNA or something in their chromosomes, right? But at the end of the day, though, right, everything that we can do to help prevent, right? Everything not preventative, but some things help prevent some of these things. And we as a people really is just really like Richard did, reach out to your friend. Hey, are you having these kind of discussions, right? But once again, me want to sit around and talk about sports and talk about crap all day. But when time to talk about health, we literally like, hey man, I'm good. Hey brother, you are 400 pounds. Maybe you need to lose a little weight. You know, you can be a little bit healthier. And if we gotta be we gotta be willing to take a little criticism too, right? We hate taking criticism, right? But if you have a good environment around you, a good circle around you, you're gonna challenge each other to get better, right? No matter what it is. And that one thing me and my friend do very well, right? Hey, you got life insurance? Do you have? Are you working out still? Like my best friend, I told him all the time, hey man, you gaining weight? He was like, man, shut up. I'm like, and the funny part is, next week he was like, man, I start back eating right again. He may take the wrong way right then and there, but once he get home and process it, he like, you're right, I am gaining weight, right? Cause we're making you mindful of a situation we want you to get better at,
Yeah.
right? So
Holding everyone accountable.
exactly, right. And you can't,
Yeah.
if you're not holding me accountable, I don't want to be around you. You know, you're not making me better as a person. Don't come around me
Yeah.
anymore. Cause we're the age now where I don't need no new friends. I don't need friends who just want to jibber jabber. I want to be a better person, right? Every day I tell myself, I want to be 1% better today, no matter what it is, right? And just now, I got 2% better because I learned about prostate, how it works. So that one thing I never digged into because once again, I never had a client to really talk to about it. I never had that research done because once I get a new client, I educate myself on what they got going on. But now I'm sitting here like, damn, I didn't know about prostate. How did I know about that, right? So now I'm sitting here like, tonight, I'm looking at this iPad to see
I'm
what the hell
gonna
wrong,
do some
what's
research.
going on.
And see, there you go. Little research.
Awareness.
You never know.
And
Somebody
Just,
is
just don't look up the side effects of surgery.
well, you know what? I want
just yeah.
to because now I'm more mindful of what I'm gonna do to myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, I think the thing is consequences. Like, hey, if you get this, what are the consequences? Okay, let me get better now, right?
Yeah.
That one thing we can't be scared of either. Like, hey, what are the consequences if I don't do something better, right? Like, if I drive a car drunk, what's the consequence? I'm gonna get in a car wreck.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
don't want to think about those things, right?
Yeah, you like he said, I don't know if you want to know the consequences of prostate surgery because you're going to wear it depends and ED is definitely an issue. And you go, "Oh no." So, how do you get healthy before all of that? But,
Exactly.
there's things you can do. We could get into that forever, but oh
Yes.
my gosh. You gave us a ton of stuff to think about. I'm going to suggest maybe you come back and talk to us again.
Oh
Um
yeah, for sure.
because there's going to be questions that things that you said that we're going to be talking about. We're going to go, wait a minute, Coach Manny has the answer. Let's get him back on and make that happen. But I appreciate you taking the time. I know we went a little long, had a technical oops in the middle of this,
My
but
bad.
very educational, man. It's not your fault.
I
Oh
have,
no.
I have one question before you leave, though. Your favorite Marvel character?
Oh man, it's the hook. I'm gonna tell you why the hook. Cause it kind of reminds me of myself, right? When I'm calm, I'm good. I'm going. I'm green, right? I'm good. When I turn green, I'm angry, and in Marvel, if you know the Hulk, he learned how to control his anger, right? As a kid, and I'm real big on. I know there's another rabbit hole we go down, but I'm also big on mental health, right? I got a therapist. I have a psychologist that I talk to weekly, right? Just because my temper was so bad, like the Hulk's was, and yeah, I look at him and I learned from him, like, oh, you can control this, right? So I went and got help on my own. Once again, being physically and mentally sane physically sane is one thing. Physically in health is one thing. To be mentally sane to what's going on up here, you can't have the mental piece without the physical piece. I mean, the mental piece without, the mental piece is the most important, right? You can have all the money, you can have look good, but your mental ain't right, all they're gonna fall
Yeah.
apart.
Got you. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, man. It's been a pleasure.
I know, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all guys having me, man. I know I talk fast, so if it's a little fast, I'm sorry. I'm passionate about that. I love
Yeah.
talking about health and
Okay.
wellness, man. Like, I wish we would do better as a community, as a people, as a community. So,
Yes.
Well, hopefully we will. And like I said, I hope you come back to talk to us again because we'll have more questions lined up. But Richard, you have something, don't you?
Yes, I always end the show with something positive, right? So let today be the day you believe in the beauty of tomorrow.
That's a good saying. I'm gonna
Very
steal
good.
that.
Yes.
I like it. All right. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.